want to welcome everyone to our meeting. And hold on one second. Let me just share screen here. Okay. All right. So Michelle did a real nice job on our minutes for the meeting. So I did let her know. And so we want to get everything started today. Hopefully you all had a good week. In our last meeting, we had Curtis as our guest speaker, which was a very good thing. We talked about a little bit about Curtis, some of his background. Curtis had some suggestions that will be good for us to implement. I thought it'd be good if Ray kind of brought that out for us, since he's going to be doing that.
In progress.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right. You might want to mute that. Can you mute?
Yes, sir. There you go.
Or what? Is that the speaker that's doing that?
I was actually trying to get on my computer. I apologize. And so I had it on my phone so I could listen, but
No problem.
Did
No
a little
problem.
feedback there.
Walter, welcome. Glad to have you. Thank you for coming in. As I was mentioning, Curtis was our guest speaker. He had some suggestions. And maybe since Ray is doing that, the sales part, he can kind of help us assimilate some of those suggestions into what we're doing. We also talked about how often we should have a guest speaker. And I think the idea was to try to do it monthly. I had not really worked on that part yet, but I will definitely be working on it this week to kind of put that into place. And so the goal is for February to maybe towards the middle end of the month to get a guest speaker. So that's the goal. If you have any other suggestions, anything like that, please let me know. Ray talked a lot about the 7K wealth strategy video. And there was some nice things in there. We talked about the defense, offense and defense, meaning the bullion being the defense and the Newsmax matter being the offense. There was some information that suggestion I had made about the necessity of products. That's important, and really getting behind a product to push it. So you want to make sure it's one that is necessary or something that people can use, that the people that are heading up that product are reputable people. Perhaps they've had some experience, they've done this before, or ran a company. You just want to make sure that they're not startups where they're just going to fizzle out. And then one other thing I usually use is the mama test. If you sell it to your mother, then by all means, sell it. So that was one of the things we talked about. We talked about putting out an agenda. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm constantly getting an agenda for our meeting. If you have any comments about how I'm doing that, please let me know. We also talked about that 7K wealth strategy video. Now, what I did is in the agenda, I put a link of the video. What I actually did is I put together, there was a 3-minute video that 7K had where they had the testimonials, and I thought that was great. I was using that video on my website, and I still do. And what I really did is I merged those two videos so that one, you can see those testimonials. I thought it was really, really a good testimonial type to see, because these were real people. And some of these people, even Ray and I met. So we know they were legit. And you can always refer to that video, the testimonial, the strategy video, when you're introducing it. Maybe you're going to be doing, I want to do some special things where I always introduce the video, but it was always good to have the testimonials along with the wealth strategy. Now that was kind of my suggestion in trying to actually put that together. So hopefully you'll find that video useful. I know you didn't have a chance to look at it, but basically the first 3.5 minutes of the video, it goes through that testimonial. Then there's a bridge that brings us to the 7K strategy part. So that was one thing we put there together. Then we talked a little bit about Ray's adding to the meeting his ideas on how we can move forward. Just a sales part of the meeting, Monday meetings that we can have that can help us gain some ideas on how we can be more effective. And then pretty much that was a lot of what we discussed. So let me just go over to the, hold on one second. Let me just go over to the agenda. My printer is not up and running, so I have to kind of do it kind of this way. So I sent an agenda about what we would be talking about today. We've already went over some of the minutes. I briefly discussed the wealth strategy video. I did put the link here so you can view it at your convenience. I know, Ray, I don't know, Ray, if you were ready to really talk about, if you had some ideas for moving forward with the sales. We can let you have the floor right now so that you can.
Yeah, well, what I wanted to do was piggyback off of what Curtis did the other day in regards to the numbers and stuff. And can everybody go to this? I want to use Walter as an example here. Okay. Because Walter's on the fringe of getting some regular, starting to get some checks going here. And Walter's on his a left and a right. So it's important on your site, you have to have an active member on both sides, right? If you only have an active member on one side, but you have the points on both enough in order to collect a check, guess what? You're not going to be picking up a check. You're not going to rank. And remember how Curtis had talked about we can lose points. We can flush points when we don't qualify. So for instance, if Walter had nobody left and nobody right, and had 500 or let's say 600 points on both sides, he can flush those points, right? Is that correct, Steve? Just to make sure correct, because you can't go above your rank, in other words.
So I've done a lot of research on this. I don't know, Steve, if you have the answer, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's good, Walter. That's one thing we were going to talk to you about too. So, but yes, if you go over your rank, you will flush those points.
You know about cycles? So every 500 points is a cycle.
Yep.
Okay. You go through your 2 cycles. If you're copper, you have the maximum amount of 2 cycles available. So if you don't have the cycle, then your points go on a copper rank, they go to loyalty credits. They do not just flush, period. The only time they flush, period, is on my rank, an associate rank. So on the lesser leg, after you get paid, or if you don't have the points to get paid, you'd have the points would flush. Now, however, I learned that if you look on your profile, you have leadership credits.
That's correct.
Those leadership credits get used up automatically each time that you don't. They allow the points to not flush to loyalty credits on copper and above, and they allow them to stay as commissionable credits. So like I only have 4. I checked with my dad. I think he has 12. If you look on your profile underneath it, you'll have your loyalty credits and leadership credits, and that'll tell you how many cycles that you can last before your points start to go to loyalty credits.
Yes.
I am concerned about this only because I did a little test over the weekend. I cycled up $250. So I got a $250 cycle last week. And this week, Saturday at midnight, I was checking and then nothing happened with my leadership credits. I still have 4. I had 4 last week. So I talked to my dad and I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're revamping some of the pay structure and cycle on it. But according to the system, like it's semi-complicated, but not at the same time. But so that's what the paper says for the leadership credits, but they might be changing that because I didn't lose one this weekend and I didn't have enough points to cycle. So
your concern was the leadership credits?
No, well, the leadership credits, I should have had one used, I believe, according to the system. I should have had one leadership credit used to be able to retain my points for commissionable credits.
Okay.
But that did not cycle, and I did not lose my points. On associate rank, you're supposed to, on your lesser leg, go to 0 after a cycle. On
Yes.
a copper rank, they will go to 0, but they'll go to loyalty credits.
Okay.
So you get to be able to purchase a coin later with those flushed points. But it did not do that. I didn't lose my points, and I didn't lose leadership credit either. So I'll check actually right now to make sure, but I checked last night and Saturday. So
Yeah, I don't think that you would have an issue in regards to flushing points or anything. That's above your associate rank. So you're right. That's the only time that you flush the points, but you shouldn't have any issue. And you should have received a $250 amount going to your Sound Money wallet, correct, Walter?
So here I'll read it from the what they have. It says leadership points are earned through premium membership sales. We know that, which allow points on the pay lesser leg to roll over. 1 point equals 1 pay cycle where points will roll over. So for example, if you're a copper rank and earn 900 points on your left and 600 points on your right, you will earn 1 cycle. The program will check whether you are eligible, whether in quote unquote here, are you active and have you reached a rank? And since you are eligible to be paid for 2 cycles per week as a copper, you will have earned $500 for the cycle, and 500 points will be deducted from each side, leaving you with 400 points on your left and 100 points on your right would be assigned to the loyalty points because you don't have enough to cycle again. In the same scenario, if you're an associate rank, you will earn 500 for the cycle. However, since you have reached the maximum cycles allowed for your rank, the points in your lesser side will reset to 0, and you will start the new week with 400 points on your left and 0 points on your right, and no points will be assigned to the loyalty program.
Yeah, so right now you have 265 points left on your left remaining, and 115 on your right, and you have 1 on each side of associate.
You're skipping out there, Ray. Sorry.
I said you have, so I'm looking at yours right now, Walter. You got 265 on your left, 115 on your right, 1 active on both sides. So you've got, so one more, let's say one more person on your right is going to give you a half a cycle, right? Because you're at the 250. You'd have a check of 250 coming in.
Yes, sir.
And you're not going to, yeah, you're not in any danger. You said you thought that the last time. I don't think you have any issues in regards to flushing points or anything like that. Now, but look over at your mom. Is your mom, I can't tell right off of here, is your mom underneath you by any chance?
No, I have my wife and my business is underneath me.
Okay. Because your mom is right now, I'm showing her inactive in 1 day. So do you remember what Curtis said, about the 30-day cycle and then having another 5, I believe it is. I could be off here on the exact days, but she's going inactive in 1 day where she's going to be like sort of in a grace period, right?
Well, she should be. So you go inactive after 36 and you don't lose points until 45 days.
That's right.
But you have to, she might be having her autosaver coming soon. I don't know. I should have mine coming the first here.
Well, yeah, it should be hopefully very soon. I don't know day because she's got 1,040 points on one side and 200 on the other. So we're gonna have to let your dad know, and he might have that under control already.
Yeah, so he's in the air right now, so that's why he couldn't be on. He's flying back from Arizona, so
That's no
okay.
problem. Sometimes what happens is when we change the date of our of that coin purchase, you'll see that inactivity, but it will catch up because the purchase will go through. And that could have happened. I'm just saying that because sometimes that will happen to some of the members where they picked one date and then they've changed it. And so you'll go into that inactivity period. But it should catch up because usually it's changed within that month period.
Cool. I think, and it's some clarity just talking through that just now. I'm wondering if I didn't have enough points to cycle versus if you did, does that make a difference on this? As I was reading that, did you guys kind of like think through that maybe? Because I've been thinking through it all weekend and I couldn't quite figure it out. But other than right now, it might be if I didn't have enough points to cycle, then they just continue, because in another point, it does say, I'll find it because I have them highlighted here.
That is correct, Walter.
Yeah,
If you don't have enough points to cycle, it just keeps going on. It just keeps going on and on.
until, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it says right here, no, until a cycle is earned, your points remain intact and will continue to accumulate as long as you're active.
Yep.
So that makes more sense now, because like, until I get 500 or 250 points, then it uses it uses one of my leadership points to keep the rest of the points commissionable on one side. It sounds like.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So one thing I would ask Walter here is I'm looking at your one active on each side. Remember, in order to rank up, as Kathy Guzzo says, who's our runners gonna be? This is a game where one key person on both sides could really be a spark, right? Or a person that knows a key person, right? So do you feel confident on your right and left? I think you mentioned you had your wife, and then you had, I can't tell who's on who. I just see a bunch of names here. Now, do you feel like, do you have a person that we can continue to help and maybe bring on the calls and to be able to lift them up in order to help you build your business now, just like you're doing with your dad's? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. So that guy, Michael Hunt, is just connecting. He's one of my guys from Pennsylvania. He's a pastor friend of mine. And he's kind of taken on and been excited about it on my wife's side.
Well, we would like to welcome him.
Yeah. Hey, Michael.
Morning.
Good to see you. So yeah, he's on my wife's side.
Okay.
And my dad has the share group that you guys have. He has been helping me with that on my left side, so under my business.
Okay.
I understand there's potential with that. So he was kind of saying that he's taking that side on, kind of wanting to help me with that side, and then it'll all help you all on the way up as well.
Well, Michael, we want to welcome you here. So we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Did I hear right, Michael? Did I hear that you're a pastor?
Yes, I pastor a church in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
There go the connection right there.
I could probably talk to you for hours because I work with two of the largest church insurers in the country right now, and one of them's close to you. Yeah, one of them's close to you in Columbus, Ohio. Not too far,
Okay.
right?
No, it's not far.
Yeah, Doors over in Columbus, and then I work over here in Chicagoland with both of them have 500 to 600, 700 churches that they work with. And
That's great.
man, I'm glad you came on, because that has to be a God thing, because
Yes.
the next thing I was going to talk about was how, Walter's dad, Dan, with the share group, this is, one of the things that I'm working on right now is how to share this with churches and non-for-profits. And Dan's the first guy in our group that sort of cracked the not-for-profit with the share group. And the way he explained it was so awesome when he opened up in regards to, you don't want to have to keep going each year and either, going in fundraising and relying on the fundraising, nothing wrong with the fundraising, but each month, if, as trying to pay your bills and everything else and go into your donors and feeling behind the 8 ball, and why not take a proactive approach where we're helping people in our groups get silver and gold, protect ourselves against a lot of risks of the dollars in the future. And guess what? It becomes a win-win. And Dan presents it very simply. And he just says, hey, $500, if we can put $500 a week in your checking, wouldn't that make a big difference to pay a lot of your bills on top of everything else that you have going, because it's very simple in order to do that, as long as you have momentum on your two teams. Did you have questions for us, Michael? Oh,
We're not able to hear you.
That.
there you go.
Okay. Yeah, so Walter had mentioned that to me. And by the way, it's great to meet both of you as well. And I'm excited about the opportunity. I saw the value of it pretty much immediately. And me and Walter go way back. We're good friends grew up together. But yeah, so I definitely would be interested in, because you know, I'm a premium member, my wife is, and then to complete the trifecta, basically what Walter's told me, I could do a nonprofit.
Yeah, I think a good strategy, and this is what Dan has done, is sort of not only himself, but putting in both key positions, both teams. He's got either an LLC or his wife, you know, in there. And what that does is it gives you the ability to get multiple paychecks with the same people coming on board. And that's one of the things that Curtis, who's got 17,000 members, he was on our call last week, and he's collecting 2 checks. And one of his checks is around $7,000 a week, and the other one is 3,500. He has, so
Wow.
It's not every week, because not every week, but he was the highest paid guy in 7K, and he made like 309,000 last year. But that's not bad in 25 months worth of work.
No.
No, it isn't.
And you know, the cool thing about it too, Michael, and this would be a good thing for Walter and everybody to hear, is he didn't bring a ready. So you would think that, okay, the highest paid guy at 7K at 309,000, you think that he brought a ready built network in, and he didn't. He had a lot of names and people. He was from the construction business. He knew a lot of people, but he actually, in the first 6 months, he was actually below where Dan is right now. Isn't that
Okay.
something? Or right
Wow.
around the same. He said he's about the same where Dan is in 2 months, because he built his foundation for the first 6 months. He went out
Okay.
and flew to Michigan. He flew to Las Vegas. He flew to different parts of the country. So he did a lot of, he's a real hard worker. And what he does is he understands the comp better than everybody else in the company combined for the most part. It's because it can get a little complicated sometimes, you know? And so he built it up to where he's got 2 positions, a gold and a silver, you know, position. He's got other people in there that are key in there too. But those 2, he said he'd rather even have those 2 as opposed to just going another rank up, because it's actually more efficient for him.
Wow. Well, what do you recommend for a guy who's been for a couple weeks?
Well, I was going to ask you, how many parishioners do you have in your church right now?
Well, we have anywhere between 40 and 50 on a Sunday.
Nice. Well, that's good. Nice close-knit group.
Yes, it's a church replant. We took over a dying church basically and have helped it.
Excellent.
Well,
The first
one-
thing you want to do is you have one active on your right with 150 points.
Right.
Your goal now should be to get one active on your left.
Okay.
So one
And that
active,
could
'cause
be-
you need to collect checks. You're going to need to have one to associate level. You're going to need 1 and 1. And then the goal is each team has to have 500 points to collect a $500 check. Although you can get half a cycle, meaning 250.
Okay. Well, I
One
can
of the
talk
things-
with Walt about
one
the
of-
nonprofit.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. One thing I wanted to recommend, we talked about that trifecta. Make sure, and this is for everybody, that you've read 7K's policy. That's extremely important. Anyone that you bring into the organization, make sure you read the policy. Because with the trifecta, although I know a lot of people have not really done that, they only allow 2 members from the same address. Now, some have gotten 3 or whatever the case may be.
Steve, it's 2 per household and 1 business.
Yes, but but you can have more than 1 business. It just
Yeah.
can't be in the same address. So you want to keep that in mind, because I've directly dealt with that. As long as it's not like, so if you had a second business, you could do that as long as it doesn't exist in the same address. So that's important to know, because that may happen. You may do a business and you may do a non-for-profit. See, I have a non-for-profit and I have a business.
Recording in progress.
So if that happens, I can't use them in the same address. That's the one thing I want to make sure that you clearly know that, because some people may actually do that. You all may do that. And so you just need to know.
I just want to take a second and point out the minutes. We're at 33 right now. It's 9:12.
Yeah, one thing we were going to do, and when we talked about it, when we have a meeting like this, and I think this happened when Walter came on last time, we kind of cut the meeting, but we're going to extend it. What will happen is those that want to go ahead and excuse themselves from the meeting will. There might be some important points that are brought out, like Ray is not really finished with his comments. So what will happen is we're normally keeping the meetings to 30 to 40 minutes. And so if you have to go within that time, that's fine. Because if another point is if someone has a point that they want to bring in, we're holding the meeting open. I will hold the meeting open for as long as anybody wants, but we're holding the meeting open to continue with that point. And then those that need to go can go. What really will happen is we make a recording of every meeting. And then, of course, you can still listen to that recording and get the whole benefit from the meeting that you may have missed because you've had to step out. Now, Michelle is reminding of us of the time. So if someone has to do something, like if they had a second meeting, they will know, okay, now I got to get off. But we'll still extend it if someone wants the meeting to be open a little bit longer. Ray, is that pretty much what?
I think so. Yes. Who's our newest member here? Who just jumped on here?
Oh, that's me,
Yeah.
Ray. So the Zoom user, I couldn't get video on my computer. I can't get it to work. So I jumped on my phone.
Yeah, so what Walter did is he split himself in two.
What do you know?
He's got two spots. See?
I
wanted to
makes-
make sure that.
Makes us look better. We got how many more participants? Everybody puts 2 on there,
Hey, Walter, I wanted to make sure it wasn't one of your twin brothers or something.
Yeah, that's my better looking brother right there.
Now, Zach, Zach, I think Zach, I don't know the other name, but they're twins of 7K.
Okay. Zach and his brother does the marketing.
Yeah, exactly.
Not identical though.
Ray, are you you continuing some points?
Pardon?
Are you continuing some thought points that you had going, or?
No, I'm actually ready. I'm ready to pass on right now to the next.
Okay. Who's next? I should ask that. I'm sorry.
So Ray, did you have anything else you want to add, or?
No, that was about it right now.
Okay.
Definitely like to connect with Michael too, some point in regards to the churches too, because I got some ideas in regards to charitable giving, and that would be including for everybody. On how to be generous. I'm also on a board of a non-for-profit, and it's called Dynamis, and it's basically on how to spread generosity for individuals, churches, businesses, and it's a very structured plan. I haven't used it honestly for 7K or any of our churches yet. It's in the very beginning process, so I'm just about rolling it out for our churches, and it should help in regards to the 7K building of your team too.
Thank you.
All righty. Let me share the screen again. I think we'll. So this was an agenda that we sent out. Walter, you did get this too, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So basically,
I'll get you Michael's web address so they can start. I've been forwarding these to Michael, but he could join the team. Are you okay with that, Michael?
Sure thing.
so along in our agenda, we were letting Ray discuss some of the points that he asked for us to move forward. We're going to discuss the length of the meeting, and that was one of the things I just mentioned, how we want to make that adjustment. And that way it will accommodate everyone that will have something important to share. We won't be cutting anyone off. Walter, we wanted to discuss with you about pretty much what you did, your research, if that would be something you would be interested in doing. A lot of times as people come in, we want to make sure that they're clear on things. And you seem to be the type person that researches things, how things should work. And if you can do that, we'd love to have you do that piece. Would that be all right with you?
I'm doing it. Yes, sir. I love it.
Yeah, we kind of gathered that. So that just seemed to be a perfect, but we didn't want to assume anything.
Yes,
know,
sir.
We wanted to let you know. We talked about last week, we had a guest speaker last week, and we were talking about the frequency of having a guest speaker, and we came up with monthly would be a good idea. Wanted to kind of discuss the best date. I thought maybe in the middle of the month or end of the month, but maybe why don't you all share with me, what do you think is the best date for a guest speaker? Because obviously when we search out that person, we want to be able to let them know what those dates will be. Anybody had any suggestions?
Whenever they're available.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one. So yeah, okay. So I will work on that. I did reach out to try to get some information. We talked about when we have a person that is interested about what type of script or terminology or what could we use to help close the person or bring the person to closing in regards to becoming a member of 7K. I did reach out to 2 people for that. I haven't quite gotten information, but I'm going to be a little more diligent this week. And I'm hoping that I will have something concrete for us by the next meeting. So hopefully that will help because I know there'll be questions. I'm going to also introduce where we get a lot of our information from for our group. As we get new members, I'm going to bring that piece in. We created what is called a mind map, and I will share that with everyone next week. And then that mind map, you will have the ability to go right into it and pick off of it certain things that you need for, whether it be brochures, whether it be whatever the case may be, for those that you're introducing to 7K. That has already been created. A link is for that mind map is always sent to you in the invitation. It is always there. So I'm going to go through that and share that again with the group so we know how that looks and we know what it's there for. So that's all I have. Does anybody have anything else they would like to share?
I do.
Go ahead.
Okay, so doing some research, and I don't want to act like anybody's ignorant here, so it's not to do that. It's just for people that may not know. And then if at the end of this, if you guys have any questions, I'd like to get those, write them down, and be able to say ask 7K if I don't have the answer to them.
Okay.
So that's, I think, what would be good for finding out information so we can centralize that.
Okay.
I've had lots of questions. One of my original questions was, we know that the Silver Eagles are non-reportable asset, so non-taxable, which is one of the big promoters for the Autosaver Silver Eagle side. So in my mind, I'm thinking, if some of the others are reportable, what about our Sound Money wallet? Is that something that is, when I'm moving money back and forth from my Sound Money wallet, will I be taxed on that input, on those transactions? If you're moving it, do they have to report it? But as I've looked into it, I'm pretty sure that, and they did say this, that the Sound Money wallets are backed by Silver and Gold Eagles. So I think that's a good reason of how they get around any type of reporting on that, because your money is not in anything but Silver Eagles. And then when you report it, I wanted to share with the group, has anybody taken Sound Money out of their wallet and into Silver and brought it home? If you do, okay. If you haven't, here's what it looks like. I was semi-disappointed when I got it because I thought I would get like an MS-70 rated. They give you a coin, it has Sound Money wallet, just a blank coin, and they send you these. I actually kind of like it the more I thought about it. I like having the MS-70 quality, but I also like having these that are a little bit cheaper, but still 1 ounce coins as a variation for our portfolios.
Hey, Walter, I got a
Yes, sir.
question for you. So when you pulled out the 1 ounce Silver Eagles, was it approximately $33 and change? Is that where it came out? Just want to make sure I'm looking at it correct and
So-
accurate.
Yes, sir. So it was when I did it a little bit ago, it was $35.11 when I took my cash to silver. And then when I took it out, I had 7 coins or 7 ounces of silver that I had purchased, 7 point whatever, but it wasn't enough. They charge a little extra, like 0.3125 ounces to send it all to you. So I only got 6 ounces. I still have 0.23 or whatever ounces in the in my wallet still. So they do the going rate when you purchase from cash to silver.
Mhm.
And then when you're going out, they charge you a little extra for the shipping and handling kind of stuff in the ounces of silver. So that was really cool. I wanted to test it and see how the process worked. And I actually am super excited about how they give you those, not generics, but non-rated coin, because it's a cheaper version for people. I've been advertising that. Like if you just become a member, put money in, it's kind of like the generics, like getting in the cheapest possible rate that you can. I mean, you could buy blanks, but these are minted at only $33 a pop right now. I don't know what did it change to 33 right now today.
Yeah, I'm
So
looking at 33.42 right now.
yeah, $33.50. You can get into a 1 ounce of silver and just start, like put money in your wallet, check it out. When it goes low, buy a bunch of silver and then send it to yourself, and then you're keeping the actual physical asset. So I found that very, very interesting and fun. I'll say that.
Walter, that was a good exercise because what we really, I mean, we may be here to make money, we may be here to start a business, or we may be here to acquire gold and silver. The point is, with our fiat currency, it is strong evidence that that currency may be ending. If that does, we need to have the ability to have some protection to spend. What do we do if we have $1,000 in our pocket, US currency, and we can't buy anything? So getting into the rhythm of building that, not only just portfolio, but our sound money, our actual money is important. And those bullions, those increment, and you can do them incremental and all of that, are going to be very, very important, because there are companies now that will allow purchases with gold and silver. They're doing that now. So that should tell us something. So one of the things 7K teaches us is 3 parts of the money. We have our bullions, we have our numismatic coins, and we have our we have our bars. So we want to make sure we have a balance of what we're trying to do, or at least understand that we can have a balance. Understand what the numismatic coin is for, what it does. Understand a bullion, what it really is, and how we can use it, and how we can break it up, and understand what a bar is, and even some of the tax implementations or the tax that will be required on some of these precious metals. But we need to have a clear understanding, because our future, we're talking about protecting or ensuring our wealth, ensuring our currency. Then we need to understand what all these things mean. And that's one thing that Curtis taught us last week. One of the key things 7K does, and it doesn't take a lot of information, is they teach us this. So get used to looking into your portal and learning that information, because it's going to be extremely important. This can happen overnight, and we will know what to do, what many people want. So as we're building our business, one of the things that we can do is share that knowledge with people so they know how really important this is. It's not all about necessarily making money, but it's actually saving lives. So that's all
Very
I
good,
have to
Steve.
say on that matter.
Yeah. Couple other things on the detail that I've been researching. I was told when you first get in, your holding tank members go to one side. And I just want to put out there that you can change what side your tank members, your automated side your members go to. I don't know if you know that or not.
Yes, you can.
Yep.
Only
Okay.
if no one has signed up under them. If someone
Right.
has signed up under them, you cannot change them.
Yeah, go ahead.
The best practices, so you don't deal with any issues, because I've had to make some changes. I had to go to the home office. The best practices in the first 36 hours, because that's when automatically they're going to be put on your left. So your first day and a half, right? 6 hours, you want to place them. So if you don't want them automatically going on your outside leg, then you need to place them. So for instance, go to the right leg, put them on the right side or whatnot. Or on let's say for instance, you do it on a Saturday, the cycle it'll automatically place them at midnight on Saturday. So remember, you won't have 36 hours if you're really close to that end of the cycle. So the best practice is to try to do it as soon as possible,
Yeah, and you can. So if it's a Saturday night, I'd like to point out, if it's a Saturday night and you're like, shoot, I need them on this side, you can go into that holding tank and change what side they're going to automatically go to on that night. So to protect yourself on which side you go to, and it's just right in your profile there.
You absolutely can, but after 36 hours, you can change them if no one is signed underneath them. You
Yes,
have
sir.
to go through the office to do it, but it can be done because I've done it.
Perfect. The other thing was, I had a question coming in. If I buy a state coin, will I get duplicates? And, when would those Silver Eagles, the state Silver Eagles. Yeah. And they have a program called Smart Selector that assesses what you've already received, and it's only per one account. So if you can sign up under, I think 3 on one account, 3 autosavers on one account. So if you signed up, let's say under my account or my wife's account, and I added 2 more autosavers to her for the state Silver Eagles. They would do a Smart Selector and try not to give you the same coin for that single account. If you already have it and they don't have any others, then you will then receive a duplicate coin of what you already have. Obviously, we know that some are already out of production or whatever, like Idaho, Montana, so most of us won't receive those. So, but I thought that was a good, semi-good selling point, or at least a good knowledge point to tell your clients that they work really hard to make sure that you can get a set going,
Yeah,
Very good.
Thank you, Walter. Really good. That's good information. Good information. Great
Willable.
information.
Willable, I talked a little bit about it last week. You can will your business, your account to
Yes.
somebody. You have to have written consent from previous member. Will or death certificate is required, and then they review it, make sure you're in compliance, and then they can pass it on to your children. I thought that I've seen guys' eyes lights up when you tell them that, because they're thinking about their children and future generations, or maybe even niece or nephew or something if they don't have kids. So the work and effort you put into the business side of it is not for nothing. It can actually be transferred. Found that very powerful.
Yes, that's important. And that is one of the reasons why I said, look at your policy. That particular, those situations are spelled out in your policy. Please look at the company policy.
Mhm.
It's
And always
about a 60-page document.
And always remember, that's the whole point of 7K is a legacy company. So everything is about passing on and protecting and taking care of our families. And there's not going to ever be a time when you don't have the ability to pass on your business because you die or become disabled or whatnot. So that's really good. I'm glad Walter's our researcher here.
Yeah, man. Ooh, buddy.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. I feel like
man.
I'm talking to people that already know it all, because I came in a lot later, but I always find like Michael might benefit if we have people in the future, maybe even reviewing these things every now and then.
Yes.
I'm looking at maybe creating I'm talking to my dad. We're going to partner up. He's got business as far as website ideas, but I'd like to start something where we can direct people to a Facebook page of our own. I have a really big desire for liberty is my theme for my business.
Okay.
I've working on the Miss Liberty series of coins for that very purpose, to kind of grow that part of it. But creating a place where people can go with just answers for 7K, but not only that, like clips of videos for good information to send people to. So that's exciting for me. One more thing for maybe Michael or somebody else that might know, but it's probably not going to get any of us in a while. But if we talk to a client that has a little bit more money, you have fees on the Sound Money wallet after $25,000 of value. So it's not, I mean, I'm not there, but somebody might be, and it's not even that much. I think it was for 10,000 or 30,000 is like $7 a quarter. For 50,000, they gave examples of like $10 a quarter. So, I mean, $40 a year for a wallet. I've seen some more online for like they do monthly fees and stuff. So based on your portfolio. So this is a pretty good system here with the Sound Money wallet.
Okay, thank you, Walter. Appreciate it.
One last thing I want to bring up in regards to, because we're almost hitting tax time here. And I'd love to be able to do something in regards to taxes, maybe next week or two, I'll come on but the thing is that just so Michael knows too, because, I know Walter was on these calls. Every time you're purchasing the numismatic coin through the autosaver, it is tax deductible because you're building a business and it's all considered inventory. It's the only business that I'm aware of where you can buy money and deduct
And
it
write
from. I mean, where else can you get better than that? But I mean, I have to get off the call here in a minute, but I'd be more than happy to go through the tax stuff at one of the next couple of weeks here, because I think that's one of the big sells for people, why to get in, among a lot of other things,
Okay, Ray, that'll be really important. Thank you. I don't have anything else to add. Walter, did you have anything?
Just anybody have any questions for me to ask 7K? Anything you kind of come up with?
No, Walter, I will give you, are you speaking to Carrie at 7K? Do you know Carrie?
I do not. No, I actually haven't sent one. I've talked with my dad on this and he's sent a couple emails off, but I still have more questions. So I'll send an email off here in a day or two.
Okay, so who do you normally talk to when you talk, or have you talked to them yet?
I haven't talked to anybody. I just done my research through the detailed, your plan details, share plan details, and online questions that they've already answered through their FAQ area. And then just researching stuff online.
Okay, well, I'll send you Carrie's number and I'll let her
Perfect.
know that you'll be calling.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
I don't have anything else. Does anybody else have anything else?
Hey, Steve, I think with Michael on, I think if Michelle can continue to make sure that each new member has access to telephone numbers and emails of all the other members to ask and call or at any time, any questions they might have.
Sure. Michelle, did you get?
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
I have it on mute because my son's playing, but yeah, if Michael can, I don't know if he wants to send it in the chat, his email and phone number, or if Walter wants to just email me or the group his information, that'd be great.
We'll get it worked out.
Okay.
All right. Well, this should conclude our meeting. Enjoyed everybody. I think it was a great meeting. I thank you all for being part of the meeting.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Bye.